Hey everyone, John Blanketop here, and welcome to another Big Q University Knowledge Nugget. In this edition, we're going to explore the idea that leadership just doesn't care about quality. I hope you find this edition insightful and informative. So I've been hearing more and more from my fellow quality management professionals. They've been saying, John, leadership just doesn't care about quality. Well, I want to tell you, in the 40 plus years that I've been working in quality management, I have yet to meet a business leader that came to work every day with the intention to tank quality in their organization. I really think it's time for us to stop saying leadership doesn't care about quality. I think it's accusatory and inflammatory, and it's not helping the situation. Now, I will tell you what I have seen in my 40 plus years of experience in quality management. First of all, I see many leaders that have a little Q quality management mindset and are completely ignorant of the fundamental principles of big Q quality management. I also see many leaders that are clueless about their organization's current context for quality management. And I see leaders that don't fully understand the risk they've placed upon their organization because they lack a big Q quality management mindset and a deep understanding of the true context of their organization for quality management. And because of this, these business leaders don't prioritize quality, they don't invest in quality, they don't get involved in quality initiatives and programs, and they don't lead quality by example. Thus, they expose their organizations to a high risk of poor quality performance. So, of course, we're going to think that leadership just doesn't care about quality. But if we're being really honest with ourselves, doesn't this really represent a failure of the quality management profession? So I want to spend a little time talking about how we could step up our game in the quality management profession. I want to talk about what I consider to be our number one skill set or competency, and that is knowing how to determine and help leadership deeply understand the organization's context for quality management. We need to learn how to determine the external and internal issues, creating circumstances and situations that form the setting for quality management or the environment for quality management, and how that environment influences the organization's ability to fulfill quality objectives and achieve sustained success. Now, I consider this the number one skill set and competency because it forms the foundation for strategic planning and effective quality management. We must advocate, educate, and facilitate quality management activities, processes, and resources that leverage identified opportunities and manage identified risks. We've got to then be able to take this knowledge to help increase the organization's ability to fulfill quality objectives and achieve sustained success. We know that the context, the setting for quality management in an organization is ever changing. So we must consider how to establish, implement, and maintain a process for ongoing monitoring, reviewing, and evaluation of external and internal issues. We've got to be able to determine appropriate actions to be taken that enhance or sustain success. Also, we must be able to establish a process for effective improvement, learning, and innovation in order to support the organization's ability to respond to changes in its context for quality management. So when we talk about issues, we talk about two kinds of issues, external issues and internal issues. External issues are factors that can exist outside of an organization that can affect the organization's ability to manage quality, fulfill quality objectives, and achieve sustained success. What are some examples of these external factors? Well, we have statutory and regulatory requirements, industry sector specific requirements and agreements, market and customer expectations, competition, globalization, social, economic, political, and cultural situations, innovations and advancements in technology, and the natural environment. The other type of issue is internal issues, and these are factors that exist within the organization itself that can affect the organization's ability to manage quality, fulfill quality objectives, and achieve sustained success. Some examples of internal issues or factors are company size and complexity, processes and associated activities, strategy, type of product and or services, performance, resources, organizational knowledge and competency levels, cultural maturity, and innovation. Now that we have a general understanding of the internal and external factors affecting quality management, how do we go about determining what part of quality management is affected and how it's affected? Well, to do that, we must understand the quality management fundamental principles and practices that influences the organization's ability to fulfill quality objectives and achieve sustained success. Now, to find that, I turn to ISO 9000 2015, which is the standard on quality management concepts and fundamentals and vocabulary. And I also turn to ISO 9004 2018, which is a standard on quality management maturity and maturity expectations. Now, all of the fundamental principles and practices from these two documents have its origins in total quality management disciplines that were promoted by the gurus of quality management, Deming, Duran, Ishikawa, and many others. So based on the content from these two standards, these are what I consider to be the 10 quality management fundamental principles and practices that have the most influence on the organization's ability to fulfill quality objectives and achieve sustained success. And these 10 are customer focus, interested parties' needs, expectations, and relationship management, identity, leadership, engagement of people, process management, planning, control, and improvement, resource management, analysis and evaluation of performance, evidence-based decision making, and organizational knowledge, improvement, learning, and innovation. As you can see, for each of the 10 quality management fundamental principles and practices, I've listed a reference to the section in ISO 9000 or ISO 9004. So as a friendly piece of advice to my fellow quality management professionals, before we tend to point our fingers at leadership and say that leadership doesn't care about quality, I think we need to focus on making sure we have a deep understanding of these 10 principles and practices. Now that we have a general understanding of the external and internal factors that affect quality management, and we have an understanding of the 10 quality management principles and practices that influences an organization's ability to fulfill quality objectives and achieve sustained success, it's time for us to understand what part of quality management is affected by these external and internal factors and how it's affected. So to do that, we're going to build ourselves a table. And this table is going to list our 10 quality management fundamental principles. It's going to give us a column to list external factors, internal factors, and we're going to understand how those external factors and internal factors affects the 10 quality management fundamental principles and practices. And then we're going to understand if that represents an opportunity or it represents a risk to quality management. So as an example, let's use leadership as one of the 10 quality management fundamental principles. We know that ISO 9000 2015 section 2.3.2 speaks to leadership, and we also know that ISO 9004 2018 section 7 speaks to leadership from a quality management maturity standpoint. And if we understand internal factors that are at play in an organization, such as company size and complexity, strategy, organizational knowledge, competency levels, processes and associated activities, and cultural maturity, we have an opportunity to try to understand how those internal factors have an impact on leadership. So where the internal factors intersect with the quality management fundamental principle, in this case leadership, is where we flush out a specific internal issue. And so a hypothetical example of this would be the organization's ability to achieve quality objectives is limited by the lack of leadership commitment and engagement due to inadequate quality management competency, misunderstanding of the organization's context, and no visibility to quality risks requiring action. Now, how can I support that specific internal issue with objective evidence? Well, I can turn to internal audit results coming from clauses 4.1, section 5, clause 6.1, 7.1.6, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, and 9.3 of ISO 9001:2015. And if I'm doing quality management maturity assessments, I can also look at the results of assessments using tables A5 through A8 of ISO 9004:2018. So now that I've flushed out the specific internal issue, I then need to indicate if I consider this issue an opportunity or a risk. And in this case, we've identified it as a risk. So let's look at another example. And in this example, we're going to take a look at interested parties, their needs and expectations, and relationship management. And we're going to take a look at external factors that could have an impact on this part of quality management. So some of those relevant external factors are statutory and regulatory requirements, industry sector specific requirements and agreements, market and or customer expectations, competition and globalization, social, economic, political, and cultural situations, and innovations and advancements in technology. So again, where the external factors intersect with the principle, we flush out a specific external issue. So as a hypothetical example, we have flushed out this issue. The federal government may be enacting a product safety regulation that's been called for by end users. This can potentially enhance our ability to be successful because our new product design and development input requirements includes compliance to this safety requirement in all future new product designs. And again, we can support this specific external issue through internal audit results and quality management maturity assessment results. Now, in this case, we would consider this to be an opportunity, which means we want to continue to leverage it. We want to make sure we continue to do things like this and maybe even do more things like this. It may even require us to speed up plans that we have to help us be more competitive in the marketplace. So we're going to work through this exercise for all 10 of the quality management fundamental principles and practices by understanding the external and internal factors in the organization and how they affect each of these 10 quality management principles. Because remember, it's these 10 principles that influence the organization's ability to fulfill quality objectives and achieve sustained success. So as we go through this and complete the table, we now have a list of specific issues that represent opportunity. What we want to do is then prioritize and take actions that leverage these opportunities so that we can improve quality and enhance success. We're also going to have a list of specific issues that represent risk to the organization. So we want to prioritize these risks and take actions that mitigate undesirable impacts to quality and sustained success. So how do we prioritize these opportunities and risks? Well, we can use a priority matrix that can both take a look at prioritizing opportunities and prioritizing risks. We would prioritize opportunities by looking at the benefit impact in the y-axis, low, medium, and high, and we would also evaluate the existing ability for the organization to leverage that opportunity as low, medium, or high. Also, from a risk perspective, we can assess the severity impact of the risk on the y-axis, low, medium, or high, and we can also assess the frequency or probability of occurrence of that risk from a low, medium, or high perspective. Then when we understand the Y-X priority, we can see where it falls on this matrix. So obviously, if we have a high and right situation where we have high impact and we have a high frequency of occurrence from a risk standpoint, that's going to be our highest priority. If we have a high benefit impact and we have a high level of ability to leverage that impact, that's going to be our number one priority from an opportunity perspective. So through having this skill set of being able to determine the context for quality management, we've been able to help leadership understand the circumstances and situations in their organization that form the setting or the environment for quality management. We're able to help them understand specific issues in each of the 10 quality management fundamental principles and practices. And as a result, we can help create courses of action with leadership that focus on quality management. We can help reshape the identity of the organization relative to our mission, vision, values, and culture. We can help to improve our unity of purpose and direction through our quality policy, our quality objectives, and our quality strategy. And we can help reshape the systems and processes and resources required for an effective quality management system. Again, our key role here is to help leadership by advocating quality management, educating them about quality management, and then helping to facilitate the understanding of the context for quality management. And the reason why this is important, because this forms the foundation for effective quality management that influences the organization's ability to fulfill quality objectives and to achieve sustained success. Well, that's going to be a wrap for this Big Q University Knowledge Nugget. I hope that this edition piqued your interest and intellectual curiosity. And I hope you plan to join me for the next Big Q University Knowledge Nugget. But until then, remember, every day is a great day to make things better. See you next time.